नमः परमऋषिभ्यो नमः परमऋषिभ्यः। हरि ओम। अंतरायतिमिरोपशान्तये शान्तपावनमचिन्त्य वैभवम् तन्नरं वपुषि कुञ्जरं मुखे मन्महे किमपि तुन्दिलं महः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः। गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। यस्यान्तन्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं नामगोत्रं न सूत्रं नो जातिर्नैव वर्णा न भवति पुरुषो नानपुंसं न च स्त्रीं नाकारं नो विकारं न हि जनिमरणं नास्ति पुण्यं न पापं तत्त्वं नो तत्त्वमेकं सहजसमरसं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्नाम् अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। Today we have to speak on the glory of Samskrita Bhasha as it is related to the culture of India, Bharatiya Samskara, especially to Adhyatma Vidya. Many are the noble souls who have dedicated their lives to spread this culture. And some are very traditionally oriented, and there are also people with modern thinking. All of them are dedicated in this noble task of spreading this culture. So today we are speaking on this subject as per the request of such an institution, Himalayan School of Traditional Languages. So the very name Himalayan, as the Vyasa Parashara Smriti says, Uttaram yat samudrasya himadreshaiva dakshinam. What is the border definition of Bharata Desha? It's Uttaram yat samudrasya himadreshaiva dakshinam. Tam desham Bharatam nama Bharati yatra santatihi. So that is Bharata Desha. The definition of Bharata Desha is from Kanyakumari. It's called Samudram, or Rameshwaram is also called Samudram, Setu Samudram. From there you move towards north. And Himalayas in the north, from there you come down to south. Uttaram yat samudrasya himadreshaiva dakshinam. Tam desham Bharatam. That desham is called that country. That area is Bharatam. And the language spoken in that country, there are so many languages, but the mother of all other languages, the undercurrent, the breath, the very prana of this country, this desha, is Bharati. The Samskrita Bhasha is called Bharati, Sura Bharati, Deva Bharati, Girvana Bhasha. Sanskritam means most cultured language, very refined language. Very, very refined, because sages have used that language to communicate with gods, and also to communicate abstract things and their own divine experience. So the language is chiseled to its perfection. So it is called Samskrita. In Valmiki Ramayana, there is a beautiful scene. The most heart-touching scene in Ramayana is where Hanuman is having his darshana, his vision of Sita. After crossing the ocean, he has searched for Sita everywhere in Lanka, and at last he locates Sita in the Ashoka Vatika. And he is sitting in the Shimshipa tree and looking down. There Sita Mata is there, and now he is having a conversation with himself. How should I first approach Sita? In what language should I speak to Sita? Naturally, Samskrita only comes. We will come again to Hanuman as a second incident. First, you have to know Hanuman or Anjaneya is a great grammarian. In our Sanskrit literature, Hanuman is considered as authority in music, authority in grammar. Navavyakarana Pandita is called as scholar in 9 forms of grammar. Navavyakarana Pandita. So that we will see again. Here Hanuman is thinking, how should I approach Sita? Generally, when you introduce yourself, you will use the most powerful, influential, impactful language. So that is human nature. So that you will get flattered, you will get good name. But instead of doing that, Hanuman is thinking, if I speak in very refined, cultured language, if I speak in pure Samskrita, then Sita will think I am Ravana. Like the Brahmins do, the Dvijati, like the refined people, they speak in Sanskrit. So if I speak in Sanskritam, Sita will become afraid, because nobody else can speak with such chaste diction. So yadi vacham pradasyami dvijatiriva samskritam ravanam manyamanamam Sita bhita bhavishyati. The Sita will become bhita. She will become afraid. So there you see the word Samskrita comes. Yadi vacham pradasyami. If I reveal my power of language, Shabda Shakti, and how Dvijatiriva, like the Brahmins do, Samskritam, in a refined language, Ravanam Manya, because Ravana also is a big scholar, is a great scholar. He is a thorough scholar in Samaveda. He is also a music scholar, and he is an Ayurvedic physician, very powerful Ayurvedic physician. So, Hanuman decides to speak in some other Prakrita language. We do not know in what language. We can say he spoke in Tamil, because that's also a very old language. So he said, I will speak in some other language. And we do not know whether Sita knows Tamil. We do not know. She must be knowing. So he decides to speak in some other language or mixed Sanskrit. So this Samskrita Bhasha is very, very refined. No? When first in Valmiki Ramayana, we have to know, I will give you one very helpful pointer. If you want to learn Sanskrit, first learn simple usage of Samskrita. Don't go deep into grammar first. Then you read Valmiki Ramayana, you will become a scholar. Because such beauty is there, such heartfulness is there, such communicating power is there. Because it's all Rishi Vachana. So it's a very powerful, very simple language. So, in Valmiki Ramayana, when Hanuman is meeting Rama for the first time, now we saw how he met Sita. Before that, in Kishkindha Kanda, on the banks of Pampa, the beautiful Pampa, and the Valmiki says Pampa is shining forth. Saumitre Shobhate Pampa. In that place, Hanuman is meeting Rama. And another great poet in Sanskritam, very recent poet, one of the most adorable poet is Narayana Bhattadri. So Narayana Bhattadri says, the moment Rama met Hanuman, Samprapto Vatasunum Bhrisham Uditamanaha. Immensely pleased, immensely happy. The moment he met Hanuman, Rama's heart blossomed because he is coming with so much, after so much shoka, tragedy, separation from Sita, excruciating pain. So the moment he met Hanuman, his heart bloomed with so much happiness. And there Hanuman spoke certain words to Rama. See, very highly refined person. When he saw Rama and Lakshmana, he was not sure who is elder and who is younger. So the Dharma Shastra says you should always speak to the elder. So you cannot find out who is elder. So he uses Dvivachana. And all the verses are in Dvivachana. De Rajarishi Deva Pratimau Tapasau Samshita Vratau Katham Deshamimam Praptau Bhavantau Varavarninau. You both look like royal beings, Rajarishi. And you are not ordinary human beings. Deva Pratimau. You are divine beings. The moment I see both of you, I feel you are not human beings. Deva Pratimau. And you look like very austere people, Tapasau, and not a beginner in Adhyatma Sadhana. Samshita Vratau, all the vratas, all the austerities that have to be performed, they are all refined so much. Katham deshamimam praptau. How did you reach this forest full of thorns, full of stones? Your legs are not bleeding. Katham deshamimam praptau bhavantau varavarninau. The moment I see you, I see that you are all both like divine beings. And he asks so many questions. Instead of giving a reply to those questions, Rama is looking at Lakshmana with a sweet smile. And he says, this person who has come before us, in fact, Hanuman is disguised. He has not come there as a Vanara. I don't want to say monkey because he is not a monkey. He is a Kinnara. You can say that he is a human being. He is special beings. They are all special beings. They are not ordinary monkeys. So there, Rama says, the person who is in front of us, he is a Mahapurusha. In Bengal, if you say Mahapurusha, simply you say Mahapurusha, it means Hanuman in Bengali. So, the person who has come in front of us is a Mahapurusha. And who can speak like this? This is the question that Rama is asking. Who can speak like this? There is humility, there is memory, there is heartfulness, there is love, there is music, everything in it. Na nrigveda vinitasya, na ayajurveda dharinaha, na asama veda vidushaha shakyamevam prabhashitum. It's a very oft quoted, very well known verse, where Rama is saying, Na nrigveda vinitasya. Rigveda, if you learn Rigveda, you need not chant Rigveda to tell you are a Rigvedi. Your very humility reveals that you are a Rigvedi. Non-Rigveda Vinitasya, if you are not a Rigvedi, such humility cannot happen. Hanuman has not chanted any Rigveda mantra, but seeing his humility, Lord Rama, Bhagavan Rama is telling, he is a Rigvedi. And such sharpness of brain, such precision in intellect. Seeing that, he says he is a Yajurvedi. He knows Yajurveda. Now, Ayajurveda Dharinaha. Not only that, he has music in his voice. His heart is full of art. Music is there. Samaveda Vaidushya is there. Asamaveda Vidushaha. Na Asamaveda Vidushaha Shakyamevam Prabhashitum. And such perfection, perfect diction, grammatical perfection, chaste language. So, Bhagavan says, Nunam Vyakaranam Kritsnam Anena Bahudha Shrutam. See, Hanuman did not become Vyakarana Pandit by someone else giving him a certificate. Lord Bhagavan Rama is telling he is a perfect Vyakarana Vidwan. Nunam Vyakaranam Kritsnam Anena Bahudha Shrutam Bahu Vyaharatanena Na Kinchid Apashabditam. So much he has spoken, not even one apashabda, not even one wrong note in it, one mistake, one flaw in it. Such perfection is there in his language. So, such a great being is. So, this is the greatest compliment for Samskrita Bhasha given by Valmiki through Rama, through Sita, through Hanuman. Because if you take Kavya, Valmiki Ramayana is the oldest Kavya. And he is the ancient most Kavi, Laukika Kavi. He is a Rishi, but Laukika Kavi means born in this world. But Bhagavatam says the most ancient Kavi is Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. To the primordial poet, the primordial Kavi is Brahma. And Bhagavad Gita says Ishvara is the Kavi. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram. So he is the ancient most, the seed of all Kavitva is in Bhagavan. He is the real poet, real Kavi. So Samskrita Bhasha, what is the greatness of Samskrita Bhasha? Samskritam Nama Devi Vak Anvakhyata Maharshibihi. All the sages have used that Devi Vak. It is called Devi Vak. Devim Vacham Ajanayanta Devaha Tam Vishwarupam Pashavo Vadanti. The Veda says Even the animals speak that language. It's a Vishwarupa Bhasha. And how can you say animals speak Samskrita? It itself reveals Samskrita does not mean only this vocalized language. It is the heart. It is the unverbalized form, Para Pashyanti Madhyama Vaikari. It is the deepermost language. There is a Smriti Vakya quoted by Shankaracharya in Upanishad Bhashyam, where he says, the language in which you dream. In what language you will dream? Have you ever thought about such a question? It's Aitareya Upanishad Bhashya or somewhere. Shankaracharya says, the bhasha in which you dream. So that language in which you dream, it means it's Vishwarupa Bhasha. In Lalita Sahasranama there is a name for Divine Mother which says Bhasha Rupa. Her name is Bhasha Rupa. Bhasha or language is her form. She has manifested as language, as Shabda Brahma. You feel something in your heart, you want to express it. You express it through Bhasha. And Samskrita Bhasha has given us all the divine revelation of the sages. It's the ancient most language. Generally, our modern philologists, people, they put it under the category of Indo-European languages. Because many of the European languages, they have the source of Sanskritam. Like if you take even English, you say mother, the root is matra, brother, bratr, sister, swasra, paternal, pitr. Like that, so many words. I am. It is in Sanskritam, it is aham. You, yam, it is you. And they. So many words, almost all the original words, the ancient most words you can trace to Samskrita Bhasha. So Samskrita Bhasha, we say that it is the mother of all languages. In this Bharata Desha, that is the breadth of this Bharata Desha. And we have, see, like any other religion, if you take Christianity, they have Bible. If you take Islam, they have Quran. Buddhists, they have their own Tripitaka, Dharmapada. All those texts are there. And for Zoroastrians, there's Zend-Avesta. Jewish texts are there. Like that, if you ask a Hindu, what is your basic text? Generally, we cannot reply. We might say, some will say Bhagavad Gita, some will say Bhagavatam, some will say Ramayanam, because they have one prophet, one book. All those religions, they have one prophet, one book. Here, we have a population of prophets. So many sages. It's not one sage. So many of them. And so many sacred texts, profound texts. All they have come from the sages. So what is the base? Traditionally, if you ask some authentic person, you will get the reply. The reply is, we have the source is Veda. And what is our religion? We say Sanatana Dharma. Actually, Sanatana, the word Sanatana means eternal. And we do not need Sanatana. We only need Dharma. Because Dharma is Sanatana. Dharma is eternal. So, Dharma is our religion. Even Buddha took only that word Dharma. Buddha actually was a pure Hindu. After Buddha, only Buddhism happened. If you take Buddha's Dharmapada, there is one Varga, one session. Many of the modern people are unaware of it, where Buddha says Brahmana Varga. Brahmana Varga. They say Varga. Varga, they say Varga. And there he explains all the divine qualities and says Tam Aham Brumi Brahmanam. Such a person I call a Brahmana. And a Brahmana and Shramana, what are the difference between them? Esha Dharma Sanatanaha. This word was used by Buddha. Esha Dharma Sanatanaha. So this, our Dharma, the Vedic Dharma, it is two branched. Dvividho hi vedokto dharmaha. Pravarti lakshano nivritti lakshanascha. Jagataha sthiti karanam. This dharma is two branch, two bifurcates as pravarti dharma and nivritti dharma. Dvividho hi vedokto dharmaha. There Shankaracharya says vedokto dharma. The dharma is prescribed by the Vedas. Vedo khilo dharma moolam. Veda is the source for dharma. Vedo khila dharma moolam. So what Veda prescribes, that is dharma. And dharma is dvividho hi vedokto dharmaha. One is for the people who live in world, who want to continue the family lineage and lead a very perfect dharmic life. For them, this pravarti lakshana dharma. It is not a worldly life. There is no concept of worldly life at all. The modern life is not pravarti dharma. It is prakrita. It is raw, unrefined. So pravarti dharma means prescribed by the Vedas. And the other is nivritti dharma, all renouncing. Renouncing everything. You know the self, you realize the self. You become free, a jivan mukta. So that is nivritti dharma. So dvividho hi vedokto dharma, pravarti lakshano nivritti lakshanas. If these two are there, very well balanced, brahma kshatre. If these two are there, the society, the life in this world will be noble. And this dharma is not for India, jagataha sthiti karanam. It is not simply for India. That is why the sages never said only Hindus should be happy. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. Sarve santu niramayaha. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Let all be happy. And if noble ideas come from anywhere in the world, we will accept them. Let noble ideas come from everywhere. Vishwataha kratavoyantu. From everywhere they can come, we will absorb them. So that is the Vedic idea. And Samskrita Bhasha is based on that. And the ancient most texts, authentic text for all our dharma, our Hindu, what we call as Hindu now, the name Hindu has come from Sindhu, the river Sindhu. And those who were inhabiting the banks of Sindhu river, now that Sindhu river has gone to Pakistan, on the bank of Sindhu, whoever lived, the Parsis, those who are from other countries, they called them as Sindhus. And the word Sa was pronounced as Ha by them. Like that, slowly it became Hindu. But you cannot find this word in our old texts. There you see only, there is no name. Our Kanchi Shankaracharya, Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swami, he says, why our religion has no name? And he gives a beautiful answer. He says, suppose if there are 4 Ramas in a village, they will say tall Rama, fat Rama, black Rama, fair Rama. But if there is only one Rama, no adjective is necessary. Only you say Rama, only one person is there. Like that, the entire earth was filled with only one dharma, one religion. So that religion had no name. That is why Swami Vivekananda said, my religion is that for which Buddhism is a rebel child, to which Christianity and Islam are offshoots. Now have written many articles on that, how Christianity came from Buddhism, and Jesus Christ is a formal prophet for Muslims also. So these are all of them came with one prophet, one book, one session. Then we were forced to name our religion. Otherwise, what is the boundary of our religion? What is the boundary? Etra vishwam bhavatyeka needam. The Upanishad says the entire universe is as if sitting in one branch. Prithvi Mata Dyauhu Pita. Veda says this earth on which I am standing, it is my mother. And the Akasha, the canopy above, the space above, the sky, that is my mother, that is my father. Prithvi Mata Dyauhu Pita. So, we are as if sitting in the lap of our parents. So, this is the Vedic idea. The entire Vishwam, the entire universe. It is not simply Bharatavarsha. But certainly, they put a circle even in the Bharatavarsha as an Aryavarta. That is another term which we have to speak about. This Arya theory, entire Indian educational system, especially history, is poisoned by this idea of Arya. They say Aryans came from outside, entered India, and they conquered Dravidians. We say Kapola Kalpana. Some cerebral nonsense. And the entire history is based on that nonsense. Because they found so much difference in India. Some are fair, some are dark, some speak other Samskrita, some speak Prakrita language, all kind of differences. And they were confused. But Arya, the Shabda Arya comes almost about 36 times in Rigveda. Not even in a single instance, the name is given as racial name. It does not mean any race. It means a noble person, a cultured person, a respectable person. That is why Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, if you weep like this, anarya jushtam, it does not fit with an Arya, with a noble person. It's ignoble. So Arya means only noble. And Dravida, certainly it means the south. It is this side of Vindhya is Dravida Desha. And it is not a racial name. It indicates the place where we all stay. The South India, what we call, it's called Panchadravida. Panchadravida means what we call as Tamil Nadu. No? So, Karnataka, Andhra, Gurjara. Dravida, Karnataka, Andhra, Gurjara. No Kerala idea at all. Because Kerala belongs to Tamil Nadu only. It's called Malay Nadu. That time, that language has no... it's not so ancient. It's only less than 1,000 years. So, these 4 states now, they are called Panchadravida. These 5 states, they are called Panchadravida. And after Vindhya Parvata, it is called Gaudha Desha. And that Gauda Desha, Pancha Gauda also. Naturally, when you go to Kashmir, they are called Saraswatas and Maithilas, Kampilya, like that. So in Bengal, you can see so many sects. They are all called Gauda. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sect, they are mutts. They are called Gaudiya Mutt. So this, all that Desha is Gauda, and this side it is Dravida. No Arya at all. No special Arya. Aryavarta means any place where noble people live. It is not a racial name at all. Only two sessions, Gauda and Dravida and Gauda. So this racial theory, all these things, Swami Vivekananda says, all these were superimposed on you because you failed to learn Samskrita Bhasha. You do not know what treasure is lying there in your culture, in your spiritual texts. You simply mug up what all the so-called ruling invaders wrote about you. And that has corrupted your brain. You have to learn, excavate and find out what glory you have in your culture. And that is possible. The key is Samskrita Bhasha. Unless, see, these translations won't do. Here also when I am speaking in English about Samskrita Bhasha, I feel ashamed. You should speak in Sanskritam and everyone should understand. That is the state where we have to reach. Instead of that, I am speaking in English about Samskrita Bhasha, and that is not the right way to do it. So Samskrita Bhasha is the Veda Bhasha, and Veda means knowledge. Vedas Chatvaraha Angani, Dharma Shastra, all this Chaturdasha Vidyas, they say, 14 kind of knowledge, Shastras. And Vedas have their Angas, Shiksha, Kalpam, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chandas, Jyotisham. These 6 auxiliaries, called Angas. And in usual Tamil and Malayalam, we have a usage here, Chadang. It has come from Shadangam. This Shadanga, everything is done according to the Shadanga. And it has become Chadang in Tamil and Malayalam. So the language has almost seeped into our culture. You cannot separate it. Tamil language, that is also very ancient language. But Tamil is also filled with Samskrita Bhasha. You cannot separate them. And there is no question of separate culture at all. It is all one culture. The whole Bharata Desha is one culture. Right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, do not ever believe anyone who gives you an information to separate. We had enough of this separation, suffering of this separation, and such forces are working around to separate us. We can unite only with one language, that is Samskrita Bhasha, and one adhishtana, one substratum, that is Vedic knowledge. Because you see, in this Hindu Dharma, we have so many sects like Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishta Advaita, Shuddha Advaita, Shaiva, Shakta, Vaishnava. All these differences are there. But all these differences are ignored when it comes to Vedas. A Vedic scholar might be a Vaishnava, might be a Madhva, might be Advaiti. But if he is a Vedic scholar, he is a Vedic scholar. All respected. Vedas is the common binding string. Even Advaita, if you say take it as a philosophy, it cannot bind. Because Vishishta Advaita people will say we will not accept. If you say Dvaita, they will say we will not accept Vishishta Advaita. But if you take Vedas, all of us become one. So that Vaidika Dharma is the source of Bharata Desha, and Vaidika Dharma is the source for Samskrita Bhasha. Modern research people, they say this Vedic Bhasha, Veda Bhasha is not what the classical Sanskrit is. Of course, that is true. The classical Samskrita Bhasha is different from the Veda Bhasha, because the Veda Bhasha is not at all an usual conversational language. Sages have opened their heart, and whatever they saw in the astral plane or in the plane of their spiritual experience, they all came out. So there, one word will be in one place and the completion of that word will be in another sentence. So that is the way of Vedas. So Vedic Bhasha cannot be the conversational language. That is Alaukika Bhasha. But certainly it is the source of Samskrita, the conversational Samskrita Bhasha. Samskrita Bhasha is Ramayana, Mahabharata, and all the Kavyam. You say they have the Himalayan school of traditional languages. When I saw that name and I saw Himalayan, the first thing that I remembered is Astyuttarasyam Dishi Devatatma Himalayo Nama Nagadhirajaha. That Kalidasa says, Uttarasyam Dishi, in the northern border of this divine country, there is a Devatatma, a divine mountain. Himalayo Nama Nagadhirajaha. So Kalidasa's words. So you can, in Kalidasa you see simple Samskrita Bhasha. In Valmiki you can see simple Samskrita Bhasha. No, in Advaita Vedanta, a person becomes authentic, Pramanika Acharya, when he learns the Upanishads and the Shankara Bhashyam. And people, when they hear Shankara Bhashyam, they will think it is ununderstandable. But if you go and read Shankara Bhashyam, such simple language. Later on, all the scholars, they brought all recondite, ununderstandable, inscrutable kind of Tarka Bhasha. But Shankaracharya has used very, very simple language. You can, even now I quoted some verses. Like that, even if you take Brahma Sutra Bhashya, Yushmad asmat pratyaya gocharayoho vishaya vishayinoho tamah prakashavad viruddha swabhavayoho. Long sentence, but the language is so profoundly conveying the message. So Shankaracharya's Samskrita Bhasha is so simple. Kalidasa's Bhasha is so simple. We can learn Sanskritam very easily by learning Ramayana and Shankaracharya's verses. So many stotra granthas, stotrani he has written, so many hymns, even very, very simple Samskrita Bhasha. When we were studying in Kerala, in Kalati, somebody asked why Shankaracharya has not written any work in Malayalam. Answer is so simple, because Malayalam language was not there in his time. But one great scholar who was presiding that meeting, he said he has written in Malayalam. What is that work? He said, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. That person sat because he thought it is Malayalam. The questioner, he was convinced it is Malayalam because it is almost Malayalam. It is so easily understandable, so simple. Even a child can understand the meaning. So that is the power of conveyance. He has written Mudakaratta Modagam Sada Vimukti Sadhakam Kaladharavatam Sakam Vilasidepa Dhaityakam, Vilasi Loka Rakshakam. So sweet, you know. You take a journey from Kerala to Himalayas. 2 years back when we were in Uttarkashi, when Swamiji there, he said, when I went to some Pahadi, some Himalayan village, there they had a Bhairava Kshetra. And one villager came and chanted a beautiful Bhujanga Prayata verse written about Kala Bhairava. And when I asked who has written this verse, they say Shankaracharya. It is not there in the complete works of Shankaracharya. And I asked him, how do you know it is written by Shankaracharya? He said, I do not know. My father was chanting, my grandfather was chanting like that. For centuries we were chanting this verse. That is all authority. So right from the Himalayan forest to the down south there up to Kanyakumari or Kerala, everywhere you can see Shankaracharya's name. And Shankaracharya has not spread out through his Bhashyam, through his small verses like this, like Bhajagovindam, like Mudakaratamodakam. Even a child can chant Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Bhaje. Only name of the Lord. From that, the most profound verses like Dakshinamurti Stotram, which is so profound, thickly packed. Ishvam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyan Atmani Mayaya Bahirivodbhutam Yatha Nidraya Yat Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanameva Dvayam Tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. So Dakshinamurti Stotram, it is called a hymn, but it is a profound work. Like Shankaracharya's disciple Sureshwaracharya has written even a Vartikam for Dakshinamurti Stotram. So much Shankaracharya has given us. Not only Shankaracharya, all the Acharyas have written in Samskrita Bhasha. And the base of Samskrita Bhasha, as we said, is Vedas. And all our traditional people, they take the authority of Vedas. Even music, even drama. If you go to the Sanskrit drama session, they will say, Jagraha Pathyam Rigvedat, Samabhyo Geetamevacha, Yajurvedad Abhinayan, Rasana Tharvanadapi. I took the topic for drama from Rigveda. And all the Abhinayat kena solva. The acting, no? It came from Yajurveda. And the rasa, the essence, the taste, what is conveyed by it, it came from Samaveda, Atharva Veda. The music came from Samaveda. So everything is taken from Vedas. Ramayana, you can say, Vedah Pracheda Sadasid Sakshad Ramayana Atmana. It is the Veda that has come in the form of Ramayana. And Mahabharatam we say Bharatam Panchamo Veda. And Bhagavatam you say Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam. From the Vedic tree a sweet fruit fell down, and that is Bhagavatam. So all the scriptures, they have come from Vedas. If you, I am speaking from Tiruvannamalai. In the villages of Tiruvannamalai, very not modern people, very village people, they will have an art of their own. It's called Terukut. Terukut means street dance or street drama. and they will speak in very, very unrefined Tamil. And in that dramas, very often the person will say, 4 வேதங்கள் 6 அங்கங்கள் 64 கலைகள் 18 புராணங்கள், and all these village people used to know all these things. Some drama theme will be there, but in between such cultural things will enter into them. All the 4 Vedas, 6 Angas, these things will be constantly repeated. And Ayurveda, if you take Ayurveda, it comes from, it is an Upaveda for Rigveda also, Atharva Veda also. Both versions are there. Dhanurveda, this weapon art, it is also an Upaveda for Vedas. And making of aeroplane. Vimana Shastra, that is also a Vedic science. So many things were there, but all we have forgotten. The cultural glory, the treasure that is there, the great nidhi that is there, we have forgotten. Above all these become alive, living by the great sages who have given us the Upanishads. And Upanishads become alive through so many sages. Again and again they come and give us the teaching that the truth is inside you. You turn inward and realize the self within you. This teaching of self-knowledge has spread out from this country to the whole world. As Swami Vivekananda said, you can conquer the world. Not like Alexander, not like Genghis Khan, not like the British people, not like the Spanish people, not like the Portuguese or French. You can conquer the world with love, with renunciation, with dispassion. Up India and conquer the world with spirituality. That was his message. You can conquer the world with spiritual wisdom, with peace, with bhakti. That is what is happening in a way now. After first he went there, so many great Mahapurushas did the same. And I see so many Westerners come here to Tiruvannamalai and they are fascinated to hear Vedas. Some Vedic chanting is there. Our people will not be there. So many of them will be sitting there in meditation. Because so many of them, they say, the moment we hear, we need not go to any meditation class. Just good chanting of Vedas, we sit there, naturally meditation happens. So these things, this great treasure, this Mahanidhi is given to us. In our own way, everywhere we see some or other spreading this message. Like the great Setu Bandhana. As Rama did the Setu Bandhana, so many Vanaras brought small stones. Even a squirrel brought a stone and built a bridge to connect Sri Lanka and Rameshwaram. Like that, we should have a Setu Bandhana for the upliftment of this Sanatana Dharma. Of course, Dharma can never die. It can get clouded, but Dharma cannot die. And Samskrita Bhasha is the cloud which showers the rain of Dharma. Nityananda Sudhanidhehe Adhigata Sannila Megha. It is a blue cloud. Sadam Autkantya Prabala Prabhanjana Bharaihi Akarshito Varshati. Vijnanamritam Adbhutam. It showers profound Vijnana Amritam, nectar of knowledge. Vijnanamritam Adbhutam Nijavacho Dharabhir Araditam Chetaschataka Chenna Vanchasi. Trishakrantosi suptosi kim. O mind, you are like a chataka bird which will drink only the celestial waters. Are you sleeping? Are you deluded? Mrishakrantosi. Trishakrantosi. You do not have that thirst for that knowledge. If you want that pure, unadulterated nectar, you have to approach this Deva Bhasha Mata, Samskrita Bhasha Mata. She is a mother for us. Even the very beginning of learning, you learn culture. It is not like Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. In the very beginning, when a child starts learning, this is the knowledge that goes, a great fall. When you start learning Samskrita Bhasha, Abhivadana Shilasya Nityam Vriddhopasevinaha Chattvaritasya Vardhante Ayurvidya Yasho Balam. Like that, in a very, very noble way, you learn a language. It is not simply learning language. The very beginning, culture enters you. Devotion enters you. Respect, reverence to the great sages and elders enters you. So that is how the language was learned. Even the Shabda. I should not forget that. See, any language you need Shabda. And how did the first Shabda happen? Shabda means sound happened. And the sages say, Shiva, he danced. That Nataraja, he danced. And he had this damaru in his hand. That percussion instrument. He just played in that damaru, Nanada Dakkam Navapanchavaram. 9 and 5 times. That is 14 times. Nanada Dakkam Navapanchavaram. 14 times he shook his dakka. And from that all the shabdas came. Ai, un, rilak, ei, om. You can see a dakka playing there. Ai, un, rilak, ei, om, ai, ouch, hi, avarat. This is the language came like that. That sound, it's not like a, e, u, but it's all like jumbled. It's just dhvani. It's syllable. You can say syllable. You cannot say it's a letter, an alphabet. It's just kalam. That's another usage in Sanskritam. We say kalam. When a bird chirps, it's called kaladhvani, kalaravam. And kalam means very sweet but no meaning. Very sweet, no meaning. Madhuram to aspute. Kalam madhuram to aspute. It's asputa, it is not sputa. Like that, the formal sound, shabda, it happened. And from that shabda is para brahma, nada brahma. Bhagavatam says, nada shabda brahma param brahma mamobhe shashwati tanuhu. That shabda brahma and para brahma, both are my bodies. Bhagavan says, both are my bodies. Two bodies. So that shabda brahma, from that shabda brahma, all the sounds, all the alphabets, all the words, all the sentences, all the poetry, shastras, everything has come. And they have used this bhasha, vak, as the form of God. Vak vai prajapatihi. Veda says vak is Prajapati. Prajapati means Ishwar. Vak is Prajapati. It is Shiva. Kalidasa says Vagartha viva sampriktau Vagartha pratipattaye Jagatah Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Shiva and Parvati. Shiva is the essence and Parvati is the Shabda. The Shabda is Divine Mother and the meaning is Shiva. They are one. Bhavani Shankarau Vande Shraddha Vishwasarupino. Like that. So they are both same. So this is the glory of this Samskrita Bhasha. And through the Samskrita Bhasha, we learn the Vedas, the Karma Shastra, and ultimately the Moksha Shastra, which guides you to the supreme state where you find fulfillment within yourself. You know your real nature. I am not the body, I am not the mind. I am the deathless self, I am the Atma. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupoham Asmi. When that realization comes into your heart, when you know your real nature, the real nature of your I, you know that the I is not the body, the I is not the mind, the I is pure consciousness, Shuddha Chaitanya Swarupa. When that realization comes, the Mahavakya Artha Jnana comes, you find fulfillment, complete freedom. We call it as Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti. For that only Buddha strove so much. He gave up his empire and went to forest, and in Urubilva did so much tapas. In Lalita Vistara there is a verse where Buddha says, Ihasane Shushyatu me shariram. All Samskrita Bhasha. No? Buddha says, Ihasane Shushyatu me shariram. Let my body disintegrate here. Ihasane Shushyatu me shariram. Twagasthi mamsam vilayam chayato. Let the twag, the skin, the bone, everything decay. Aprapya bodhim. Bahu kalpa durlabham. Naivasanat kayamataha chalishyati. Without attaining that highest realization, this body will not make a single move from this asana, from this posture. So there you can see, even to learn Buddhism, you need Samskrita Bhasha. Many Buddhists, they are all very thorough Sanskrit scholars. One Madhadipati, one leader, in fact, a great Acharya of the Jain Sampradaya, he came to Ramanashram 2-3 years back. They came all the way right from Delhi by walk. They always walk. So he came by walk. So Ramanashram, they gave a reception. The local Jain people, they all were there. So Ramanashram people, the administration, they asked me to give a small talk in his presence. So I thought I cannot speak in Hindi. So I spoke in Samskrita Bhasha. And I was so happy because after listening it, the Jaina Muni, he gave a reply in Samskrita Bhasha. So chaste. Such perfect Samskrita Bhasha he spoke. Then only I was introduced to that sect. They are all the brahmacharis who were following him, they also speak very good Samskrita Bhasha. After that I met another sect in Kanchi Mat. Kanchi Acharya Vijayendra Swami was there. In his presence some Jain people came. They all speak very good Samskrita Bhasha. They converse in Samskrita Bhasha. So that Samskrita Bhasha, without that you cannot, with all this English translation, these are all basic stuff. With translation you cannot go to the source. So at least our coming generation, they should be authentic. You, in any field, you should be a pramanika. You should be authentic. Unless you are authentic, your own heart will not give you certificate. So that authentic pramanikatva comes only when you know the Samskrita Bhasha. And we pray to Arunachaleshwara and Divine Mother Apita Kuchamba that Parvati Parameshwara, Uma Maheshwara, who is of the form of Shraddha and Vishwasa, to bestow one boon, that let the whole world be filled with Samskrita Bhasha. It is not to conquer, it is not to convert, it is just to spread out this culture everywhere. So Bhavani Shankarau Vande Shraddha Vishwasa Rupinau Yabhyam Vinana Pashyanti Siddhaha Swantastam Ishwaram. Hara Namah Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Mahadev.